Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Journey Through Your Suicide Loss podcast. My name is Tracy Ozer, and I became a survivor of suicide loss when my 16-year-old daughter Chelsea died by suicide in 2006. Along my own grief journey, I completed my master's degree in psychology and launched 2 companies to support loss survivors and educate others about the overwhelming process of suicide bereavement. I am invested in and passionate about helping others like myself get through this unbelievable suicide bereavement nightmare. I wanted to jump on the podcast and share about a new project going on over on Journey Through Grief's YouTube channel. As we end Suicide Prevention Month in 2024 and begin to plan new content to release during the weeks leading up to International Survivor of Suicide Loss Day, which is the Saturday before USA's Thanksgiving holiday, we knew it was time to think about different ways these suicide losses affect us. One of the projects we're releasing on Journey Through Grief's YouTube channel over these first few weeks of October is a limited series called Losing the Relationship to Suicide. I was able to sit and have a conversation with 5 different guests about the relationships they lost to suicide, such as sibling loss, parent loss, and child loss. There are also episodes surrounding the loss of a work colleague and the loss of a best friend relationship, those by suicide as well. When I came up with the idea for this series, I wanted to go beyond just saying that we lost a person. We wanted to delve into the relationships represented within the suicide loss and talk about the long-term impact that my guests have experienced. If you're listening to this podcast before watching any of the episodes, know that we are talking about real life, and our goal is not to sugarcoat anything. But we are also respectful, using appropriate language and other standards. So please continue to take good care of you as you choose to watch or listen. You know, I have to say that I am so blessed to have friends who I can reach out to, and even with their incredibly busy lives and schedules, they will drop everything to help. When I put out requests to each of them about these topics, not one of them hesitated to lend their time and the details about their journeys, because they care about this topic as deeply as I do. As I said, I created this series because I wanted to delve into the impact of lost relationships to suicide. But I want to be clear. Some people within the field of lived experience are concerned that hosts bring on guests without the consideration that grief stories can be sacred and that they feel they are forced to share details that they aren't willing to talk about. So I want our listeners and eventual viewers of the channel to know for this series, each guest was given the same list of questions ahead of time, and they had the choice to have any of those questions eliminated. My guests were fully aware of the topic we were talking about, and what you'll see is content that is raw, authentic, and totally unscripted. In fact, you'll even see me occasionally tongue-tied during the conversation just because my guests were being so vulnerable. So let me tell you who all is included in this series to date. First off, Caro is a certified neuro coach in Canada who works specifically with survivors of suicide loss. She lost her mom to suicide and has used her post-traumatic growth to help others. She has written a new book, and I am so proud of her. The new book is launching soon, and you can pre-order it right now. She has actually quoted me a couple times in the book, and I couldn't be more excited for the journey she has taken. I have put her links in the show notes for this episode. Philip Tyler has been a friend of mine since 2017, which was within a year after losing his son Devin to suicide. Philip will tell you how he has used his loss to channel messages of hope to other suicide loss survivors. Through his own journey of loss, he has shared his story on big stages all over the United States and goes out of his way to help those who need him. As a side note, if you are outside the United States and can convince him to travel to your location to speak, you won't be disappointed. Without question, if you watch my episode with Philip about child loss, you will be inspired. Then I had a conversation with Sabrina Votava. Sabrina is the founder and president of a nonprofit in Spokane, Washington, called Failsafe for Life. Failsafe for Life does a lot of work in Eastern Washington related to suicide prevention. You will learn how this passion project began as a way to process the loss of Sabrina's two older brothers to suicide. Sarah Gare is a force within the suicide prevention community. She wears many hats and speaks nationally about her revolutionary concept of soul exhaustion. This concept resonates with both people who experience suicide ideation as well as those surviving suicide loss. Before all her great work, though, she tragically lost her best friend, and we are blessed to hear about her own journey of suicide. Last, but certainly not least, I was able to have an in-depth conversation with Dr. Jonathan Singer. Dr. Singer is an internationally renowned speaker and educator in the field of social work. He has won awards for his social work podcast and is currently a professor at Loyola University in Chicago, Illinois. With Dr. Singer being a former president of the American Association of Suicidology, it's easy to assume that someone with his caliber of education and stature could be able to stop suicide and alleviate suicide loss. But, as we will learn, all of us are human, and our education and lived experience isn't always relevant to what is going on around us. Jonathan lost a colleague who was also his friend to suicide, to which re-emphasizes how suicide can affect anyone at any time, in any place. The amount of credible content you will be receiving from this series is phenomenal. Again, I will be providing full bios of my guests in the show notes here as well as on their individual episodes. I hope you watch their episodes and then follow their work. As I tell everyone, it takes a village of support and hope to work through suicide ideation and loss. I also want to say that even if your loss was not the same type of relationship as these guests, please watch the episodes anyway. There are many nuances of suicide loss that come into play during the grief journey. I hope one, if not all of these guests, have parts of their stories that resonate with you. Wow, that's a lot. While I was simply supposed to be the conduit between their great stories and you, I was able to take things away also. So let me quickly share with you that I was able to connect with their vulnerability. I think that Because we work in this field, it is assumed that we all have it together, that we've processed all the details and emotions, and that we're fine now. But that's not entirely true. While I think I can say for any of my guests that we are in much better places than the time of our losses, any one of us can instantly revert back to the day that our lives changed forever. Putting this series together reminded me that this work is important and that within the mainstream, we're not talking about it enough. It takes all of us to have these conversations and support each other through loss and through our daily struggles. Going forward in the series, I'd like to have more conversations like these, like with people who have lost a spouse or some other familiar relationship, maybe relationships that we don't necessarily think of right away. I welcome your input on any type of relationships you would like us to consider. I believe it is important to watch, hear, and resonate with these relationships because peer support and storytelling promotes long-term healing. That's why I keep saying that I hope you can take something away from these episodes on Journey Through Grief's YouTube channel. They were made with you in mind. That's all for this time. Thank you for listening, and please like the episode and share the podcast so we can reach all the people who need us. You can leave us a comment about the episode, and you can also send a message through Journey Through Grief's website at journeythroughgrief.com. That's THRU for through. If you are struggling and cannot find the support you need, please call the National Helpline at 988. The call is anonymous, and there are people you can talk to. We are here to help you while you walk along your own grief journey. Please know that you are not alone. Take good care. Until next time.